Do not trust your financial institution, says Landscape Josh. They call me the Landscape Kid. It's freaking weird doing this, but I'd do anything for my audience. I'll be an experimental. I'll experiment in many different ways, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I was reading my man Bob Keebler yesterday, or this morning. Bob Keebler is a CPA extraordinaire. I've learned so much from this guy. Bob just crushes. And I saw him at the Financial Planning Association meeting that we had in Philadelphia, like in 2011 or something like that. The guy's just freaking legend. I've learned so much from Bob Keebler. It's like nuts. Anyway, and I follow him on LinkedIn, and I guess that's it, LinkedIn. I wonder if he's on X. Anyway, so he posted this thing of a PLR, an IRS private letter ruling, a PLR, which gives you the state of the IRS in terms of their thinking about certain tax policy, but it doesn't say explicitly whether or not you can follow that for your own stuff, but it just says this is kind of like the what they're thinking, but you can't say, hey, there's a PLR, thus that's the regulation. We don't know that. But anyway, apparently, and this is way above I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. I said, Bob, can you, summarize this for a caveman? Because I can't follow what the hell's going on here. Because it's like section 301, 1922, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, kill me. But the interesting thing was the whole PLR was based on this lady did a trustee-to-trustee transfer from her IRA from Financial Institution 1, her Roth IRA, her Roth. She did a trustee-to-trustee transfer from her Roth IRA, Financial Institution 1 to Financial Institution 2. So she had Jane Smith, Roth IRA. We'll just use Fidelity. When it went to Vanguard, and it's not Vanguard either. We don't know who the financial institutions are. It said Jane Smith IRA. So for basically 15 years, this IRA, she didn't know it was a Roth. And she was, I can't remember what the specifics were. Was she taking deductions? I don't think she was. But at the end of the day, it did not say Roth IRA on her account. And as such, it screwed everything up from a tax planning perspective because she said she didn't know. And so she went to do a review with her financial institution in 2021. They said, oh, isn't this a Roth? I can't remember what the whole thing was. They didn't really elaborate on the whole story. But this is what the PLR said. Like the financial institution neglected to include the term Roth on her account when she transferred it over. And as such, it was treated as a traditional IRA. And I'm telling you, man, just that simple. And so she needed a PLR to appeal. And I couldn't follow what she was appealing exactly. I guess tax non-deductible contributions. I don't know. But it's crazy. And I think about all the 1099s I've seen on distributions, trustee transfers, rollovers, and whatnot, even the ones I've got. And the financial institution just screws it up. They don't put I had a 1099 that my wife had when she rolled over her IRA. What was that? I can't remember exactly, but there's a 1099. Oh, wait, I'm going the wrong way. What am I doing, dude? What am I doing? Oh, boy. I went the wrong way. Hold on a second. Let me get back over here. There's a 1099, and it said taxable distribution. It wasn't a taxable distribution. She rolled it to another she rolled it over. So it says taxable distribution. I can't remember the exact terminology of it. We got to get the 50. I think it's a 5498 to offset that when you get it in May. But we didn't have that. The whole point is just nuts. It wasn't I think they said in line 7, they said, whatever it is, there's like a code R or something like that, 1099R taxable distribution. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. And it wasn't that. And so when you file your taxes, you're just going along with the 1099 says, in this case, TurboTax says, oh, this taxable distribution, you owe money on this and a penalty. And I'm like, that's not a taxable distribution. We rolled it over to something else. Oh, so that's why you should hire a CPA. It's funny. We had a CPA when we lived in New Jersey. A nice guy. I met him through our church. I liked him, but he screwed up when we had a life insurance contract that we cashed out. That was basically all return of principal, and yet the life insurance contract itself said, "Oh, this is a taxable distribution." Again, it just wasn't a taxable distribution because it was a return of principal. You see what I'm saying? You can't trust your financial institutions, and again, you're the ones going to pay the taxes. The financial institution's not. So you got to keep track of this. You got to keep track of your cost basis. Talking to a guy the other day, and he didn't know any of his cost basis. Says, dude, this software is gonna show you like having much higher taxes than you do because you don't know your cost basis. And as such, you need to know your cost basis. And cost basis, again, is just this principle, because when you sell up a stock or any kind of investment, you don't have to pay tax on the principal because you've already paid tax on that money. So if you have a $100 stock that you bought for $50, when you sell it, you got a $50 capital gain. If there's no cost basis on your brokerage account, it looks like the whole $100 is capital gain. That's not true. So you got to keep track of this stuff. Now, would I go crazy? No, but I would say at the end of the day, especially a 1099 distribution, making sure my IRA says it's a Roth, I would absolutely double check that. If my financial institution isn't stating it's a Roth on the statement, I would absolutely unequivocally contact my financial institution and say, hey, this is a Roth. Just need you to know that. If they say, oh, no, it's fine, we don't have to label like that. No, that's not the right answer. That means they're being lazy. Don't let laziness get in the way of what needs to be done, especially when it comes to taxes. All right, God bless. Don't trust these guys. It's on you, not on them. It's on you. So make sure you get your tax stuff settled, because if you don't, you're going to be a world of hurt potentially. All right, God bless. That's where I need to go right there. Woo.